All right, today we're diving into the work of a really fascinating social psychologist, Erich Fromm, and we're going to tackle a powerful and maybe even a little unsettling idea from his famous book, Escape from Freedom.
Think about that for a second. This question, it cuts right to the absolute core of Fromm's whole philosophy. He saw this strange paradox in modern life, that the very independence we all say we want, the thing we strive for, can actually be the source of our deepest anxiety and loneliness. Kind of weird, right? So, you might be asking, where does a paradox like that even come from? Well, for Fromm, it all starts with what he called the human dilemma. He basically said that as human beings, we're caught in this constant internal tug of war. On one side, you've got this powerful drive for freedom, and on the other, this just as powerful need to belong. And here's the kicker. Fromm argued this dilemma is what makes us uniquely human. Other animals, they just are. But we are consciously aware of our own existence. We know we have choices, and we know deep down that we're ultimately alone in our own minds. And it's that awareness that creates this intense internal conflict. Fromm actually looked at this through the lens of history. Think about it. As civilization progressed, we broke free from all those rigid social structures of the past, right? We gained this incredible individual liberty. But there was a trade-off. In gaining that freedom, we lost the built-in sense of community, that security blanket those old structures gave us. And that, he said, is why so many of us feel kind of alienated today. Okay, so this growing feeling of being alone and disconnected, it all builds up to Fromm's biggest idea, the fear of freedom itself. Yeah, you heard that right. He explains why this liberty we fought so hard for can sometimes feel less like a gift and more like like a heavy weight on our shoulders. Now, to really get this, Fromm makes a super important distinction. He breaks freedom down into two types. First, there's negative freedom. That's freedom from things. Freedom from being controlled, from oppression, you get the idea. Then there's positive freedom, and that's freedom to do something. The freedom to actually build your own life, to be creative, to reach your full potential. And this is where the problem comes in. Our modern world is fantastic at giving us freedom from. We're free from dictators, we're free from being stuck in one social role our whole lives, but it gives us almost zero guidance on how to achieve freedom too. We're just sort of left alone with this huge and honestly sometimes terrifying responsibility of figuring it all out for ourselves. So what happens when you're faced with all that anxiety? What do? Well, according to Fromm, we don't just sit with it. We unconsciously cook up these strategies to escape it. He called them the three mechanisms of escape, and they're basically unhealthy ways we try to shrug off the weight of all that freedom. Let's quickly run through them. First up, authoritarianism. This is where you either find a powerful leader or system to submit to, or you try to become that controlling force yourself, anything to avoid making your own choices. Then there's destructiveness. This one's darker. It's about lashing out, trying to destroy things just to feel like you're not powerless. But the one Fromm thought was most common, especially today, automaton conformity. This is huge. It's when we just blend in. We follow the trends, we adopt the popular opinions, we even shape our personalities to fit what's expected. Why? So we never have to face that scary feeling of being a truly separate, unique individual. Now, if you rely on these escape tactics for long enough, Fromm said they can actually harden into what he called character orientations. Think of them as four unhealthy, ingrained personality types, default ways of dealing with the world. Let's see how these look. The receptive person is basically passive. They're always waiting for someone or something else to give them what they need. The exploitative type is the total opposite. They actively and aggressively take what they want from others. Then you've got the hoarding type, who finds security by just collecting everything and never letting go, whether it's stuff, feelings, or ideas. And finally, the one that feels so relevant today, the marketing orientation. This is where you start to see yourself as a commodity, a product to be sold. You change who you are based on what you think others want to see, always trying to have the most valuable personality. Okay, I know what you're thinking. This all sounds pretty bleak, right? But hang on, because Fromm wasn't a pessimist at all. He was a humanist, and he absolutely believed there was a healthy, positive way to live. He called it the productive path. So the productive orientation, this is Fromm's answer to that whole human dilemma we talked about. It's about finally embracing that positive freedom, not running away from it. It's about using your independence to genuinely connect with the world and other people, all through your own unique creative powers.
So what does a productive person actually do? Well, they're actively loving and responsible. They're creative and deeply self-aware. They know why they do things. And here's the magic trick. They are both independent and connected. They solve the dilemma. They find that sweet spot between being a unique individual and belonging to a community. And that's what allows them to live a life that feels truly purposeful. For Fromm, the absolute highest expression of a productive life is love. But, and this is a big but, he didn't see love the way we see it in the movies, as some passive, magical feeling that just happens to you. No way. He argued that love is an art. It's a skill. And like any skill, it takes practice and it takes discipline. He said this art of loving is built on 4 key things. First, genuine care for the other person's well-being. Second, responsibility, which means actively responding to their needs. Third is respect. That means seeing them for who they truly are, a separate individual, not someone you're trying to mold. And finally, knowledge, which is the effort to truly and deeply understand them. For Fromm, this is how we connect with others without losing who we are in the process. So let's leave it with this. Fromm's work really holds up a mirror and forces us to ask ourselves a pretty tough question. When you feel the pressure and anxiety of modern life, what's your go-to move? Are you using your freedom to escape? By conforming, by submitting, by lashing out? Or are you using it to do the hard but much more rewarding work of actually creating, connecting, and loving?